Vroom, 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 vroom. Honk, honk. Get in, losers. We're going struggling. Vroom, 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 vroom. Hello, friends, and welcome to another ride in the struggle bus, where every wheel is an empty triangle. Today, I have a game review for you, and this one it was a really, really good game to review, and I wanted to share it with you guys for two main reasons. So, reason one is the player who I was reviewing this for fell way behind very early in the game, but stuck with it and ended up winning. And the way he ended up winning is also a very interesting thing because of all of the lessons that I like to teach. I always say this. I think the most important one, the one that'll affect your game the best and the quickest to the best results, is understanding when to sacrifice or capture stones. And for those of you who are new to this or don't remember the rules I've laid out for that, when we're trying to figure out if we want to save stones, there are three questions that I ask. First question is, do these stones affect the life and death status of any other groups on the board? If the answer to that is yes, you should probably save the stones. If the answer to that is no, you move on to the second question, which is, do these stones have any meaningful follow-ups? That is, are they already surrounded? Because if they're already surrounded, there's no follow-ups. But if they're not already surrounded, then they can aid in the rest of the board. So if the answer to that is yes, then you should consider saving them. If the answer to that is no, you go on to the third question, which is, are these stones simply worth enough points to save? Right? They don't affect the life and death status. They don't affect anything on the board, but they're still worth points. It's just, are they worth enough points to save at the phase of the game that you're in? And this game has a lot of examples of that. The player who I reviewed this game for sacrificed a lot of meaningless stones in this game. His opponent was Atarying stones that just weren't important, and this player acknowledged that and took his big sente moves, took his big tanukis, and ended up turning the game around because of like 4 or 5 of those types of moves. So I really wanted to showcase it because I think that is just like the most important thing you can learn as a WJQ player to really like immediately implement into your games and start seeing very real results. This one's just a little more straightforward to apply than the other lessons that I teach. Those are also very important, but this one is, I think the most important. A couple notes before we go into this one. So this is a Patreon review, and so it tends to be less edited. It's a little more candid. You'll notice that I kind of bash his opponent a little bit. Shame on me, but again, that's just kind of the banter that we've got with those reviews. The environment of these videos it's just kind of like two friends just kind of like BSing with each other. So it's meant to lift my student up, not knock the other guy down. But looking back at it, I'm a little disappointed in how harsh I was on his opponent. But again, I just wanted to lift my player up and show him that his opponent was making mistakes and he was responding appropriately. So anyway, with that long-winded introduction out of the way, as per always, I'd like to thank you guys for watching these videos, and I'd like to thank my Patreon subscribers for supporting this channel. So let's go get into this interesting review. Hello, Rob. Thank you for sending me another game to review, especially this one. This one is an interesting game for sure. Before we get into that, thank you for your continued support. You're one of the OGs here. Anyway, I really like this game. Obviously, disaster hit pretty early in the game, but then you stuck with it, and there were a lot of bad moves your opponent played that you ignored, and I was really happy to see that. So let's get into the game. We are black, and everything is fine and good until our opponent plays this weird. It's not a weird attachment. This is a perfectly playable move. You responded appropriately. This Joseki is a little weird. Okay, the variation I know is a little weird. So you connected here, which is like, it's hard to say that this is a bad move. It just gives white a little bit more than white should get. But if you want to take a base, this is the way to do it. I like influence, you know that. And fortunately for me, this Joseki gives us influence. Goes like this, and then we block here. White will usually Hane, and we can extend. And white gets a pretty big corner, but we get really good influence here. If you're not happy with this, I'd say your result is good enough. We go approach. White plays here. We attach. I like that a lot. So our problems start with this move. Okay. This is the type of situation where it's like, you know, something went wrong in this corner, obviously, because we end up losing it. But it might be like, oh, mistakes were later, and mistakes were made later. But the first mistake was not playing this. This is what we would expect to see here. And then if white wants to play here, we can extend, and white might play here, and then we can tanuki. But the important part is, regardless of how this goes, there's no cut here. As where when we play this, there's a cut here immediately. Okay, that isn't going to quite work for white yet, but you'll see later that it obviously does. That all gets eliminated when we play this. This is the better shape move. Just extending, it gets us more liberties, and it protects the cut. So white plays here. We play this, which is a big mistake, right? White, for whatever reason, didn't play it, but white can just play the Atari, again, because this is an Atari now. Interestingly enough, not that white would have responded the same way, but if we take this stone and move it here, now this isn't an issue, obviously, right? We can just go do that. But the difference that this makes is big. White can play here and take this, and it ends pretty abruptly for us there. But white does this, we fix, white plays here, and we go and we get this really nice result because white's dead and we're alive. And white gets this awkward influence because it's not really influence because black's got strong stones here. So white plays here and immediately, so two things. One, we know this is a bad move, right? Because it's an early first line move. Two, alarm bells should still go off. There's probably a reason why our opponent is playing this, and I would want to be really, really sure that this cut right here, this cut that we left because we played D16 instead of D17, I want to make sure that we can handle that. So in that situation, maybe we would play something like this, so that if white plays here, we can do this and still win the Liberty race and have a nice stone here. Or, you know, we're okay for now, right? We can tanuki, and if white plays here, we're still okay because we've got 3 liberties and white has 2. We will win this race no matter what white does. So we turn, play a big move, and then white plays here. Absolutely, alarm bells should be going off now. Okay, white has played another very bad move, another very slow move. So we have to stop and we have to read here to see if these 3 stones are okay, and they no longer are. These 3 stones are no longer okay because if we play away and white plays here, now when we do this and fix, we lose our 4 stones. Okay, and so are these 3 stones worth saving? Let's do the calculus on it. Do these stones affect the life and death status of any other groups on this board? Yes, absolutely yes. If these 3 stones die, these 3 stones aren't alive, and then these 2 stones are. So these 3 stones affect a lot here. And then they affect the strength, so then we can go to the next question. Do they have any meaningful follow-ups? Absolutely yes. Because if this group's alive, then we can start pressuring with moves like E13. So these 3 stones are very important to save. I assume it was a misread when we... this is fine. This one move is fine. And this makes it ko, right? Because now white can immediately take this. And now it turns into ko. What did white do? White played here. And then we made this mistake. So what do we need to do here? I think we just need to connect. I know it's an ugly move, but we need to stop white from playing D17. And the issue with playing here is, as you saw, white gets the Atari, and then if you connect, white gets here, and now it's a it's ko. It's a double. It's a two approach ko, right? Because we have to ignore a threat and play here. I guess it's not a two approach ko, because what white plays here we just capture. So it comes into ko. Here we just lose the stones. So now let's do the calculus on should we save these stones. Do they affect the life and death status of any of the groups on this board? Sadly, not anymore. No. Do they have any meaningful follow-ups? They do not. They're already surrounded. Are they simply worth enough points to save? Also no. Also no. Rule of thumb here, this early in the game, this group needs to be worth 15 points to save. Okay? And it's close. It's close, because if we save this, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe it's worth saving. Maybe it's worth saving. So we decide to save. And then white plays here. But now we're getting into trouble, right? This was an obvious misread, but even if it wasn't, we need to leave this alone. Let's just assume that we were connected here and connected here. Okay. Even then, whoops. What happened? Let's do this and play here and here. Okay. Even if those stones were there, I still wouldn't want you playing this move. Because it just forces white to get stronger on the outside, and that's not something we're really interested in. But unfortunately, we don't have it at all, because now we can't connect, and white captures here. And now are these worth saving? No, because it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5 stones, so it's 10 points. It's not worth 10 points, because if we play here and white captures, and then we play here, hopefully you can appreciate that O3 and Q10 are more than 10 points. But we went and saved, so we even give white sente. This is where I'd say, yeah, this game's over, right? But as you know, Go is not that simple. We all make big mistakes, including your opponent. Interestingly, your opponent wasn't making big mistakes. Your opponent now started making lots of small mistakes. I mean, we're both making lots of small mistakes, but he's making the small mistakes, and then you just start catching him on them, and you just start chipping back into this game. So you decide to pincer. He attaches instead of jumping in, and so you get this pretty good result. And then we play here. Seems reasonable. The only reason I'm questioning it is these two stones aren't crazy strong right now, and so now if white plays something like this, it's a little annoying. What was white do? Okay, and then we play here, and that's a choice. Typically, when you play here, you then just want to connect, right? I missed this in my initial look through the game. This now locally kills this group, right? And so if we play aggressive with it, this is going to be very, very, very difficult for white. So this is a good move right here. This is a great move because it separates. It should probably actually go like this for white. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, white should go this way because we end up dying. So we can't go all in there. But anyway, white gave us the opportunity to play this very like huge move. But okay. So this is the start. Your opponent plays here. Not sente. Not sente. You know this isn't sente. You know that stone isn't worth saving. Nope, you're going to go play a big move. That's mistake 1 for your opponent. Very aggressive move. Your opponent captures. Is this sente? Absolutely not. You play a big move. Fantastic. And then we play here. While this is a big move, I'm unsure this is a good area to be playing in. I'd want more. I'd want something bigger like this. This is we're in middle game. I don't know if you've been watching the other reviews I've been doing, but I go a lot into and more in middle game. What do we care about in middle game? We care about strength of groups and big potential on the board. So we want to find those things. We want to find where the potential is. We want to find where the weak groups are, and we want to see if there's any intersection of those two things. So where are the weak groups on this board? Maybe these 4 stones. That's kind of it. Everything else looks healthy enough. This group, maybe, but also looks healthy enough. Where's the big potential? Well, we've got pretty big potential here. We've got white's got some good potential here. White's got a little potential here. We've got a little potential here. So I think this is a tough one. This is a tough board state. My intuition is telling me to play this. It's a big third line move. It strengthens a group. It reduces some potential here. I like that. I also like this if we just want to build potential. We could also play here if we want to reduce potential, build potential here. We've got options. Tricky, though. I would probably play here. This is probably where I'm playing. Big third line move. Our opponent's likely going to respond, which means we get it in Sente. So that's nice. But we play here. And then our opponent plays this. Oh, no, can't do this, white. What are you doing? What are you doing? Nice response, by the way. And now just white wants to die. White just wants to die. I don't know if I would play this way. I'd be more tempted to play this way because we aren't afraid of this. I think we'll be okay. With that said, of course, if we play this, we do have to be worried about the 3-3, which this does a great job of protecting. Okay, so white plays here, we play on top, white plays here. At this point, this is probably the next big mistake of yours this game, I'd say. I just want to rip this apart. But protecting your corner is fine as well. I love that you didn't save this stone. I love that you took the turn and then just blocked. These are not intuitive moves. This one in particular, not intuitive. I like it. It's a good move. Terrible move by white. White's like, no, I'm going to save that 1 stone and go. Doesn't, like, the stone wasn't even captured. And we get Sente, and what do we do with it? We play a big move. This move, I mean, it's not the biggest move on the board, but it is definitively a big move. Again, I would probably come back with C11. We should probably just Hane. Though I do like this because this group is a little weaker now, and we play the bamboo, and yeah, I'm down. I'm down with this plan because if we do the same calculus here, where's the big potential on this board? Well, this is no longer potential because white gave us this. Thank you, white. And so now we've got potential here. And where are the weak groups on the board? Well, this is kind of a weak group. So I think this is absolutely playing in the right area. White plays this horrifically slow move. And then we play here, which I think is okay. Because this does make the M3 Aji a lot worse. It just seems small. You know, if we want to eliminate all the Aji, we could do this. But this is fine. Okay. I like this. I like this. This whole exchange was great. Giving up those 2 stones for capturing these 2 stones means our group is alive now. Fantastic. And then white makes big mistake here. Because now white is giving us more stones while we are getting a strong group on the outside. It's like we're getting all these moves for free. It's amazing. White is absolutely throwing the game away here. If white hadn't done any of this and then had just left this alone and had played maybe this and, you know, maybe this and this and I don't know, something like this, white still might be in this game. But that's not what white did. White was just feeding you more and more points and more strength. This was all really good. Here, though, I think if we're going to play M6, we're obligated to take this cut. We just need to make sure that this cut works, and it does. I know you are worried about this move because it locally kills you. The thing is, we have a lot of liberties, and black only has 3. So we can just play here, and these 3 stones die. And even if white does this, and then white does this, and you read and you're like, oh, I can't play here because then they're going to do this and it's a ko. That's fine. You can give these 3 stones up, let white capture, and now you can play away. You don't have to capture right now. There's that. There's also up here, similar type situation where, you know, white can do this, and we've got 1, 2, 3 liberties, and white has 2. So even if white plays here, we can give those 3 stones up because we wouldn't want to do this because then it turns into that ko again. But we can just play here, let white capture, and then similarly we don't have to capture right now because we've got the 2 liberties. Hard to read that, but this one's much tougher to read than here. You play this, white probably has to play here. At which point then you can come back. But now white's left with another floating group. But we're ahead at this point in time. This game is in our control now. And so white comes back and connects. So we even get it in sensei, and then you come back and play the big move. I actually hadn't made it this far in the game. The last comment I had was this, and then so I was like, okay, I'll jump into the review now. And then you even come back and play the big move. White plays here. Yep, I think that's fine timing for white, and I think this is an okay response. I think it is big enough now. Oh, so painful, white. Fantastic, good response, great. I don't think this does anything. There's really like no more potential on this board. The only potential there is maybe up here. So maybe I would just play something like this to just make sure that white isn't getting anything, and it grows our potential more. Maybe something like this. I don't know. It would be up here, but we're ahead. It's gonna be hard to lose this game now. Okay, I like that. That's a choice. Yep. No, this is gonna work. Good job. Good job. Oh no, I lied. I did make it this far. Best move of the game. I actually don't remember where you played, but this is the best move of the game. Not necessarily the move, but you sacrificing these 2 stones. Just fantastic. I really liked this. You won this game because you sacrificed the stones that needed to be sacrificed. I don't know if you were going through and giving the thought of, are these stones worth saving? But boy, are you playing like you did. And even if you didn't, if your intuition's like, I'm not saving these stones, that's awesome, because that's the goal. That's the goal and you did play a huge move. You played a huge move. Yeah, this is like when I could use this game as a lesson for this. This is why we sacrifice stones. Because yeah, you were way behind, but your opponent got sloppy. And so yeah, it's like, okay, congratulations, white. You just got 3 points, 4 points, and I just played an 8-point endgame move in Sente, right? Because we don't even have to respond to this yet. So we can get the next big move on this board, which again is probably something around G13. This is big too. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Congratulations, white. You did a thing. You did a thing, and then you come back and play the next big move, and this game's just over now. You were way behind. White got sloppy. You took control. And I just want to point out for anybody watching, it's worth noting, yes, this turned into very few points, but it's still alive. And it was never in doubt that this group was alive. So it was just points. And so if we're just trying to protect points here, and there are larger areas on the board where we can get more points, go get those. And that's exactly what happens with allowing the capture here, right? And allowing the capture here. Doesn't matter. Black's still alive. Who cares about 3 or 4 points when we're playing 8 or 10-point moves? So yeah, really good job with this. Really happy with this game. Yep. Okay, yep. So white got us there, but you want to know what? No, we can't do that. Can't do that. The stones are just dead. Yeah, okay. That's a little unfortunate. So we flailed there a bit. So here, just play this. It comes in Sente, right? But what's nice about this is now we can play something like this. And this is actually a fine trade. Killing this stone and securing like 10 points here, and white secures about 10 points here. So it's a pretty even trade. Here it gets, yeah, it's a little unfortunate. We lose a fair amount of points there, but not enough to lose the game. Great job. Yep, we do eventually need to connect. Yeah, and then we lose all that as points, but that's fine. That's fine. Still enough to win this game. Great job. Obviously not the top left. That one was but way to stick with the game and stick to the basics, especially being willing to sacrifice those stones. I'd love to see it. Okay, that's where we're gonna leave this one. Let me know if you have any questions. I will see you later. Bye.